Customer signals, commercial success. Every hotel wants happier guests, stronger loyalty, and more revenue, right? That's the goal. But are we measuring the right signals, asking the right questions, and using AI where it actually matters? Today, we're joined by Sofya Williams from ComOps and Dustin Sanders from Kalahari Resorts to separate facts from fiction, challenge conventional thinking around customer experience, and explore how today's guest signals can become tomorrow's commercial advantage. And I'm your host, Cory Falter at Lure Agency. So let's dive in. Sofya, what do hospitality leaders believe CX that is wrong?
Great question. First of all, Cory, thanks for having me here. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. That's a really good question. I think that we've confused measuring the experience with actually managing the experience, right? We all know what's wrong. We know the friction points. It's the same back from when I was in hotel operations 16 years ago. Long lines at check-in, staff friendliness, rooms not ready upon arrival. Those are the same issues. The question is, why haven't we fixed them? I think I hear from hotel, we're looking at this dashboard, we're looking at these reports. That's great. But guests really don't experience the dashboards, right? They experience the operations. What's really interesting is that 66% of companies think that customer experience is actually improving, while only percent of customers actually agree with that. That's a really big gap.
I love that percentage on that gap because I think that there's a lag in all of industry to grow at the same speed of the expectations that are ever changing from our guests and customers. Shep Hyken says it best when he says we're not being compared anymore to just another hotel. We're being compared to Amazon. We're being compared to all the Zappos, all these companies that do the right thing immediately, that we're not there yet in not necessarily Kalahari, but in the other industries.
Yeah. I'm curious, Dustin, from your experience, what operational improvement have you implemented that surprised you the most?
Recently, we implemented a pilot program for a high-end dining venue that's not actually attached to the resort, and it's a QR codes are dead, and we might touch on that later in today's webinar. But QR codes, the guests, unless you are forced to use it, the guests are done with QR codes. COVID's gone, but there is the technology to tap and go, just like you would tap and pay. So we have now put into our bill presenters an actual tell us how we're doing tap to survey product that is getting us great feedback. We have blown up, it connects us with Google reviews. So we've blown up Google reviews. The restaurant's only been open for 2 months and we're already almost at 400 Google reviews, which is unheard of
Wow.
that quickly. So that's something that we're test piloting and it has been very successful so far.
I love that. That's a great story, a great example. Thank you for sharing that.
Amazing. Great segue into our second question. Dustin, this one's for you. If survey response rates continue to decline, what should leaders do differently?
So one thing that I'll say we can stop doing, and it might be an illusion of keeping survey count up, is we should not be begging for surveys. When you're begging and pleading for somebody to take a survey, they're going to give biased information because they shouldn't feel guilty to take a survey. They should feel so compelled by how above and beyond we went in their expectations that they have to leave some sort of feedback. That's where the true details come. And the misconception, therefore, out that only angry guests take surveys is not true. Yes, angry guests are probably more prone, but every industry and every company that I've worked for, we've had more happy guests than we've had unhappy guests. But number one, first and foremost, is it has to be short. And I think everybody knows that at this point with the industry, survey counts have continued to decline depending on the demographic that you're looking at targeting and so on and so forth. But the one we launched at the Supper Club, Daily Supper Club here in Wisconsin Dells, is literally a tell us how well we did from 1 to 4, and then an open text box. And I think that's the other key with surveys. And that's it. I think that's the other key with the surveys is how much can we get out of text analytics versus a number. The good nuggets and the details are in how much additional information we can get from those guests. And like I said, eliminate QR codes. They're not helping you. They're
Yeah.
just not.
Yeah, that's a really great point, Dustin. Data does show that the survey response rates continue to decline. but guests are talking, right? It's just a matter of kind of meeting where they are, right? They're calling your call center, they're chatting with you there's guest behavior data. So it's not the matter of not having enough data. It's just where are we listening, right? I think email survey is foundational, right? That's really a basis of any starting CX program. But I think the question is not about how we get more surveys, is how do we understand our guests better, essentially.
No, I completely agree with you. I think that the only caveat I'll add on to, if you're looking to really increase that support, that survey, is look at the time frame that survey goes out as well. It's not all cookie cutter. We send ours out the day after departure because we are a drivable distance destination. But a property like Venetian Palazzo, you get it within 20 minutes of checkout. They're hoping to catch you on your cell phone, in a cab, or at the airport waiting to take off with nothing else to do but to take a survey. It has to be convenient for the guest to take it at that particular time.
Yeah, that's where the art and the science come in.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, very true. Also, another interesting data point is that nearly 1 in 3 guests actually experience the problem, right? So I think email surveys are great, but I think we can all agree that we want to hear from the guests before they leave, right? We want to be able to turn that negative experience around while they're still on property, while we have the chance.
We have a program at Kalahari called the Promise Program. Whenever we interact with a guest, the goal, I'm not going to say we hit it every time, but the goal is to give them a little card that says, please text promise to this number if at any time during your stay you feel like we're not living up to that promise.
I love that.
So that goes directly into a text queue to a human, not AI. It goes to a human. And we hopefully, now most of them are used for I need more towels. We're still on the cusp of trying to get to those, like you said, fix it in the instant, make sure they leave happy, not that we're making them happy after they leave. That is a huge key. Yeah.
Wonderful. You mentioned AI, Dustin, and AI not being used in that particular situation, but this is a great segue in the next question. Where is AI creating real value versus hype? We'll start with you, Sofya.
AI, everybody's talking about AI, right? I actually would like to recognize Kalahari. You guys were one of the first, not first, but very early adopters of adopting AI in the CX space. So kudos to you. Well done. I think that, especially in hospitality, it's tricky, right? Because I think guests really appreciate human element. So I think looking at AI from the perspective, how can it enable our team to be more efficient, to just help us be better, but still not replace the hospitality? Again, I keep adding those data points. Data shows that only 7% of customers are going to be more forgiving to AI than to a human. Human element is still really important, and we are responsible for the relationship, the recovery, things like that. It's really what makes hospitality, what makes it special.
Yeah, our usage of AI primarily is around our service recovery. So we adapted one of the tools from Medallia that allows the survey itself, the AI, to scan all the comments from the guest and generate a response of an apology to the guest. It has been a tough road. It's not perfect. So the first myth of AI is it's not perfect. You're not just going to install an AI system and it's going to be set it and forget it like the old rotisserie chicken TV commercials back in the 1990s. Okay. It has to be monitored. It has to learn. It has to adapt. And your team has to learn and adapt with it. You can't just hit generate something and hit send. You need to reread it, you need to edit it, and you need to continue to have that human element as part of that. So we do use it in our service recovery. The biggest help it's been for us is we employ folks from all over the world. We have work exchange programs, and a lot of these folks stay with us. Like we've had them 5, 10, 15 years. English is not their first language. The AI ability has really helped make our emails crisp, professional, polished, more than anything else outside of that, because that service recovery still needs to be a human element. AI is going to have the ability to tell us the worth and the value of a guest or a customer, but it's going to take the human to go and identify, is this a chronic guest that continues to have challenges with us every stay? Or is this a valuable guest who has stayed with us 20 times and has had 0 issues up until today? And how do I need to take care of them versus a 0101 binary program that says, okay, you had a dirty check-in, I'm going to give you 50% off. As an example, that's not what AI is built there to do. It still needs to have the human.
Wonderful take. All right, Dustin, what is one piece of advice you can give to hospitality leaders?
I struggled with this question because there's so much out there, but what I ended up focusing on was the guest wants you to succeed.
Good
They
point.
didn't book their stay with you and make their vacation happen with you because they want you to fail. Now, I'm going to be the Debbie Downer for 2 seconds and say, yeah, there are people in this world, unfortunately, that know they're going to step onto that property and they're going to get something for free. But that's not the majority. And we can't treat our majority like that small minority. It's part of the business, it's part of what we have to do. But the majority of folks want us to succeed because they want to have a great time and they want to leave spending money that they felt were well spent. So, listening to them, we are in Generation CX, Generation GX, whatever your acronym is for. I use GX for guest experience. But the brands that didn't listen to the initial guest feedback or customer feedback don't exist anymore. Online grocery shopping, huge. The grocery stores that couldn't adapt are gone. Blockbuster's gone. All these different places that didn't listen to the guests. So my catchphrase, I guess, for this particular question is evolve or die. The
Wow.
feedback's there. It's an open book test. The answers are there. You just have to pay attention to them. And like Sofya said, the standard hotel challenges as far as lines at check-in, rooms ready, those are going to be the bane of our existence until the end of time. But it's setting up that proper expectation and meeting that expectation with the guests. We don't overpromise. We underpromise and overdeliver. That is the key to success with hospitality. Disney does that phenomenally with quoting you an hour wait time for a ride that ends up being 35 minutes. They make you happy to wait 35 minutes. They get it. How can we apply that elsewhere?
Yeah.
Jane. All right, Sofya, how about
Well
that?
said, Dustin, and I echo your sentiment. It was hard for me to pick just one. Cory, that's a challenge.
Huh.
But I would say stop trying to fix everything, right? Start somewhere. Pick one area that is the biggest friction, that is the biggest opportunity for a customer journey, and focus on that, right? Fix it, create that momentum, and see how the guests are responding to that improvement, that enhancement. I also think that retailers need to treat every guest interaction as an opportunity for us to earn or lose their next visit. So I think if everyone on property thinks about every guest interaction that way, it will really turn the experience around for a lot of unsatisfied guests. And let's stop measuring departments, right? Guests
Mm.
are really, they're not experiencing the departments. They're going through their journey. So focus on that guest journey. Who is responsible at your property over the entire guest journey? Guests don't remember, oh wow, my arrival was great, but the housekeeping, my room was not clean. They just think of it, my stay wasn't that perfect. So look at
100%.
it in totality.
Especially for large resorts like gaming resorts that I've come from in the past. And Kalahari, we have 8 restaurant venues under one roof. You can't operate that as a silo from the hotel or from the water park. It all has to be seamless within that. And I wanted to touch on 2 things you said, Sofya, or 2 things that came to mind. I completely agree with you that focus on your top level items. If everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. If everything's on fire, and don't change your focus
Right.
overnight. You
Yeah.
need to plant the seed and let it grow. If it's not working in 1 month, give it another month or so. Give it that 60, 90 days it needs to grow legs. Just because you've changed something this week doesn't mean it's going to impact your score right away, right? It's proving that the changes are long term enough that they are sustainable. And the other big thing I like to always tell my operators is I'm looking for small incremental growth over time. I'm
Yeah.
not looking for a roller coaster. I don't want you to go from 70 to 80 to 72 to 85. I'd rather have you be at a 79.5 to a 79.7 to an 80.1 over a 3 month period because that's sustainable. That shows you
Yeah.
that the changes are stable.
Yeah, and it's really working over time. No,
Yeah.
that's great said, Dustin. Yeah, I also, and I know you asked me for one thing, Cory, but I can't help
Hey,
myself, especially
got
I think
another
it's
one on
relevant.
pipeline. Let her rip.
Because of budget season is upon
Mhm.
us. And yeah, as we all start working on our budgets, I think one miss that I see consistently not think about customer experience during the budget process. So revenue focused demand and revenue, but how do we know that actually demand is going to materialize, right? If we are not looking at early signals, looking at customer experience as a signal whether that demand is going to happen or not. So I think guest experience or customer experience has to be a part of the commercial strategy.
Absolutely. Because wearing a unhappy or dissatisfied guest is much more difficult, right? So before we break, I'll start with you, Dustin. Can you share a little bit about yourself, what you've been up to lately, and where can people find you?
Sure. Feel free to find me on LinkedIn. Happy to connect on anything. Here, very recently on September 1st, I'll be at the Chicago Medallia World Tour, speaking there and having a great time. Hopefully, we'll be attending the Medallia Conference as well. Please touch base. My roots begin at small hotels, Hilton's, Hamptons, mostly front office hotel side, front desk, call center, group reservations, housekeeping. But I did go and I opened Red Rock Resort in Vegas. I worked at Caesar's Palace. I worked at Cosmopolitan. And then I went into travel gaming for about 7 years. So I'm one of those analytical folks that came from the operation. So I know what can be done and what can't be done and what's realistic. And I can talk the talk and walk the walk. And that's something that I always, when I build teams, try to promote that is I'd rather have an ex-hotel manager come on my team to focus on guest experience than an analytical guru whose main focus has been numbers. It's not about the numbers, especially when it comes to hospitality. Hospitality is a living, breathing entity that changes on a day-to-day basis. It's not just about the numbers. And if you're just looking at the numbers and not the operation itself, then you've lost the battle.
Yeah.
What a great take. All right, Sofya, how about you?
I've been in hospitality, gosh, all my life, almost 30 years. I'm dating myself now. But I think fun fact about me is I don't just work in hospitality, I genuinely love it. So when I'm not talking about guest experience, you can find me traveling with my family, trying new hotels, casinos, checking out new casinos. My husband actually jokes that I can't help myself. Every time I check into the hotel, I kind of mentally evaluate the whole customer journey. Yeah, I guess that's the side effect of being in this industry, right? But you can connect. If you would like to continue this conversation, you can find me on LinkedIn, ComOps website, Sofya at ComOps.
Wonderful.
Sofya, I'm so glad you talk about how nerdy we are when we're hotel people. I checked one of my bucket list hotels worldwide off my bucket list last month, which was Disneyland Hotel Paris.
Oh,
It is a most stunning, beautiful hotel, and it's one that I've wanted to stay at for 20 years, and I finally got to do
wow.
it. So
That's incredible. Did they live up to your expectations?
I might have been on the club level and spent way too much money, but yes, it was wonderful.
Sounds like once in a lifetime experience. That's fantastic.
It was.
Wonderful, guys. It's been an amazing conversation. Appreciate you all for spending a few minutes, and I can't wait to meet up with you both again soon.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.